Hello and welcome to the Irongeek podcast. So it's just Frank and Arthur with you so far this week, and today's cast title is "Fuck Delinquent Valda." Okay, so yeah,
there's some random words they picked out of the dictionary.
Looks like it. So we've got lots of fun stuff in the show notes for y'all this week, and we also might have that British person Andy come back on at some point. He said he was interested in showing up this week, so that'd be nice. Oh, Darren's here. Hey, Darren, welcome to the cast.
Hey.
I don't know where Adrian is, but luckily I can start the cast on my own now, so we don't have to worry about it.
Throw the third switch.
Throw all the switches. Sure.
Wait, where's that from, AP? That sounds really familiar.
That is from Young Frankenstein.
Okay, that's right. Yeah.
It's alive!
Throw the third switch. Not the third switch.
Yep. So now we have no YouTube viewers. So we're just going to do cast talking to ourselves. Maybe somebody will even watch it later on. You never know.
Hey, you never know.
So,
if all else fails, the NSA will keep a copy of it.
Oh, the NSA keeps a copy of everything. So
yeah, there you go. See? We got a lot of fans over there, too. So
I'm sure we do. CC Stallman is on the apology tour.
Oh.
Yeah, he's back. He's back in the news.
Everybody's been going wild over that the last couple of days, and I'm just like, and why?
So, from what I understand, the controversial thing that he said has to do with consent and children who are their age, and like the consent of an adult, the consent of a child being able to like consent to having sex with an adult, and whether there's harm in that. And I don't think that's a discussion I want to get in on at all.
Question: what does this have to do with technology?
Nothing. But apparently,
ding, ding, ding.
Your views outside of technology, when you are a public figure, matter.
I agree. But does that mean that people inside of technology must devote their waking lives to discussing it?
Well, the thing is, everyone's kind of bored because of the pandemic, and we're all sitting at home. A lot of us working from home and a lot more free time. So we have time to explore these issues that otherwise we have time for.
Why aren't we exploring interesting things like Carl Sagan's naval lint? I mean...
Carl Sagan had naval lint?
Carl Sagan, he had naval lint, and there was an entire galaxy inside of it. Billions and billions of molecules of naval lint.
Was there? If you zoom in on a molecule, does it turn into like a universe at some point, and then you can just zoom in on that universe, and it's like all interconnected, and a wormhole?
As they said in the movies when that very same question was posited, can I buy some pot off of you? That is the exact thing they talked about in the movie Animal House. When the professor was talking about molecules, he was talking about molecules inside of a thumbnail.
Ah.
And it said every thumbnail could be a universe. And the kid leans over and says, can I buy some pot from you?
I mean, the kid's not wrong. So,
but, the thing is that, okay, yes, he said something controversial. I agree. And yes, we are all bored because of the pandemic. We have nothing to do. We've already switched off hands and masturbating. But, I mean, we have better things to do than run around and scream at each other about the obvious.
Yeah.
I mean, it's obvious that, the guy said something a little goofy. Maybe he did it for attention. I don't know. Who cares? The point is that
can piss off a lot of people and get you banned for attention. It just seems like a bad idea.
Yeah. Why do we go on about this? How about, I just used a Raspberry Pi to make a toilet cam that I can put in the Greyhound bus station. Even that would be more interesting than hearing, yet another person said something bad. And now, call out the white knights in the cancel culture. Woohoo!
Exactly.
I mean,
No, I mean, that's just how it is, though, unfortunately.
I know.
Oh, I like that one. I'm going to use that one. That's the Atheist for Liberty logo that I inverted and made blue. I'm going to make that my logo up here. It looks cool. All right. So in our show notes this week, we have lots and lots of fun, interesting things to talk about.
Hooray.
And if I can successfully share my screen and hopefully don't have a whole bunch of unrelated pop-ups on there. All right. We are sharing screen. Can y'all see it?
I see it.
Excellent. So what we got first is Graham Clark, the kid behind the Twitter hack, will largely be banned from the internet because of his Twitter hack. He's like,
Now, was this the hack that was later revealed to be basically social engineering?
yes. So we should ban him from phones as well. So you remember Kevin, when we had free Kevin? We got him released from prison, and that his condition was essentially no accessing the internet or computers or cell phones for his 3-year probation. Well, they're kind of doing the same thing with this kid. So this guy who compromised a set of high-profile Twitter accounts last year, including Barack Obama, Kanye West, and Bill Gates, and then used them to tweet out a fraudulent cryptocurrency donation link. Well, this kid decided to, get caught. Well, he didn't decide to. It just happened to. He got caught, right? And during his trial, it was really, really funny because what happened was some people Zoom bombed it, which pissed off the judge to no end. And he had to postpone it because people kept Zoom bombing the trial. And then
instead of setting a password or something,
why would you set a password? Or
to stop people from Zoom bombing?
Well, then somebody just shares the link with the password, and same thing happens.
Yeah. Now the thing is, if you're sharing it with people who don't want to be Zoom bombed, they generally speaking don't hand it out to the public.
Right, but I think they share it with a bunch of people for a court meeting. So
because
they shared it on a bulletin board or something, if I remember right.
If they share a link out that has the password in it, it's a pretty short list of who did it. It's basically going to be the prosecution, the defense, or someone in the court, and none of those look good. None of those want to do it because it's going to hurt their case.
Right.
And again, these are not hacks. These are social engineering and operational mistakes. These are not hacks.
Right.
I mean, if the kid found a way to bypass security, or if he found a wackadoo link inside of Zoom that let you have administrative rights, okay, you know what? I'll eat that. I'll say it's a hack. But calling them up and going, "Hi, my name is Bill, and I need my password," and they give it to him, that's social engineering in a weak company.
Right.
And they're treating him like he's, acid burn or something. And it's just like, please, people.
Acid burn didn't go to jail. It was Zero Cool. Acid Burn was gonna go to jail, and then Zero Cool was like, "Hey, she's my girlfriend. She didn't do nothing." Mm-hmm. And then his mom and she chewed the shit out of Richard Gill. You've seen that movie once too many times. But look, so look, they're giving this kid essentially probation for that hack, and he can't use the internet. What the hell are you going to do without the internet? Can he stream?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, what do you do nowadays? Can you just watch regular TV, or like get an old computer and not have the internet? I mean, I think it's pretty much unenforceable because everything's got a fucking Wi-Fi chip in it nowadays. And
hold on, what's the duration of the ban?
3 years.
I mean, that's not unreasonable. There's still plenty of services you can get to without the internet. So, I mean, if it was like a lifetime, I mean, you can go grocery shopping, you can go get a job, you can do lots of stuff without internet.
How do you get a job without? I mean, okay, I know people right now who are ground pounding, okay, and if they go to apply for a job and they go to our website and apply.
So he's got 3 years in a juvie, right, and then 3 years probation where he's not allowed to use a computer.
I will bet you a fistful of rubber dog shit that they make exceptions for that. Like while he's at juvie, he can use the computer to apply for jobs.
But does he
can do training. He can do CBTs or something like that.
Right. The question I have is, does he actually have like a valuable skill set like the NSA might want to recruit him for and be like, yeah,
they don't
use computers if you have, or is he just some kid who got lucky social engineering and he's not even the one behind the hack from what I'm reading. His friends got access to the back end system by phishing Twitter people who work there, and then they gave him access to it. It's like he wasn't even the one who actually masterminded it. So,
well, first of all, he got caught. They didn't.
Got caught. That's what happened.
There's rule number one. Number two, we are far past the days of, wow, you're a good hacker, we're going to hire you to work for the government instead of going to jail. Those days are long gone. That doesn't happen anymore. They just lock you up in a room and throw away the room.
Yeah, you have to be exceptionally exceptional to get that kind of offer now.
Or
Yeah.
Russian.
Or connected.
Or Chinese.
Yeah,
honestly,
or
or
have
connected.
or have something like state secrets that you can divulge, be an informant kind of shit. Yeah.
Like if you walk into the federal building and look at all the prosecutors and you hold up a bar of soap and you drop it on the floor, okay, maybe you'll get a deal like that, but now for they just want to throw you into PIMTA and that's the end of it.
Right. So in the past, after Mitnick, right, there was this guy Gregory Sofsky, and he'd been convicted of accessing child porn on his computer, and he got 10 years. He challenged the 3-year probation period during which he would be forbidden from using the internet, and the Second Circuit Court agreed that the restriction was too broad. And given the circular importance of the internet to daily life back in 2002, said that an internet ban will inflict a greater deprivation of their liberty than is reasonably necessary. So,
but you mentioned he got nailed for kiddie porn,
right?
That overrides everything.
Well,
once you're found guilty of trafficking, possessing, or whatever kiddie porn, all your rights are gone. They're out the window. Right. You have the right to get shipped, and that's about it.
That it was too restrictive to ban it from the internet.
It doesn't matter. You're not going to live long enough to use a computer.
True.
Okay, you go into Gen Pop as a kiddie diddler, your life expectancy just went to nothing.
Yeah, I wonder if the guards leak that info to other people, or if they
don't have to. It'd be all over the news.
Not necessarily. Somebody going to jail for having kiddie porn might not make the news, but somebody for making it or doing like that definitely would.
We had a guy here in Vegas just about 6 months ago, made national news. He's a local DJ, club DJ, who got caught owning kiddie porn, and it was all over the news. It was all over.
Yeah, I can't condone that shit. That's just horrible.
Nope. Nobody can and nobody should.
So those people should just go to special jail where they
they go feet first into a wood chipper.
That works too. All right. So we do actually have things to talk about besides that today. The next thing we have is the Purple Fox rootkit now propagates as a worm, which is rare because rootkits, once they get on your computer, don't normally then turn into regular worms. They'll like to hide and not raise any suspicion and just hang out
until activated or deployed or whatever.
Right. So this is a new infection vector for this malware, where if you have an internet-facing Windows machine, it gets breached initially through SMB because people are idiots and they put that on the internet for no reason. So once it is popped though, and it gets this rootkit on there, and by rootkit I mean you can take the fucking hard drive out and all that stuff is in the CMOS. It's not it's in the BIOS. It's not.
Yeah. Remember the bad old days of 1997 when they used to have rootkits that lived inside of audio cards?
Yeah.
Back when audio cards were a thing.
They had them in sound cards too.
Yeah, audio is sound. Just as a aside, scientifically speaking.
Oh my god, my brain is on fart mode. So. Yes.
Free Kevin.
My brain is not working at all today. I think on 2600 tonight they're going to be having what's his name, Stallman on there. So surprise guest, and they kind of alluded to it's somebody important and somebody who's in the Linux community. So it's who would want to be on 2600 right now?
You know what would be great is Stallman and what's his nuts, the really crazy guy.
Stallman?
No, the other crazy guy, the one who said he'd eat his dick. The one who said he'd eat his dick if Bitcoin crashed. I can see McAfee.
You can't get him; he's in jail.
Yeah, but imagine put the two of them off the hook.
That would be a fun episode. Oh, we got people talking in the chat.
That would be pay-per-view right there.
Hey, look, somebody's listening to us from Germany. That's pretty cool.
Hoorah!
Hey, German person.
We'll play some Falco later on.
Oh, all right. So this rootkit that we were talking about here, it allows the threat actors to hide the malware in the machine, make it very difficult to remove. They did a whole attack analysis. They got a whole bunch of IOCs published. They show you how you can like detect it using off-the-shelf antivirus tools and things like that, and they go through all this, and they show the persistence commands that it typically uses. And all right, the thing is, like once it's on your computer now it's going to be looking for other computers to spread to, and that's new for a rootkit. That's typical for a worm, but new for a rootkit. So that is, and they also have the IOCs published in their GitHub repository here, which is cool. So you can go look at that if you are a blue teamer who's interested in that shit. Which
Blue team.
All right.
Where's our blue teamers? Where's
I'm
BSD?
a purple teamer, but I don't like that term, so I don't use it.
Where's BSD Bandit?
He's probably off working on BSD.
He's out there playing video games, cooking all those pills.
I think Dominic is from Austria. You get a shout out too. Good for you, Dominic. Yeah, it's for Arnold as well.
Yeah, blue team is not my favorite term, but it's in the popular vernacular, so we use it so we can relate to the young kids.
Right.
It's like that 75-year-old guy going, "Hey, Daddy-o, I'm cool."
I don't know, Nelson. I heard you like the sausages. All right. So next, we've got popular remote lesson monitoring program could be exploited to attack student PCs. So this reminds me of my time in college, right? We had this program called Net Support School on all the computers. And you could just go on Net Support's website and download the tech support console and access all the other computers on campus with no password. And using the trial version of the software that you could literally just reset by deleting a registry key every 30 days. So this kind of reminds me of that. There's a popular remote lesson monitoring program, and this is not your typical like MDM type thing that's on school computers. This is more of a this is Netapp Vision Pro, and it's got multiple security holes in it. It's monitoring software that schools use for remote learning, so like they can watch the kids taking the tests and make sure they're not cheating.
Have you ever been subjected to any of that stuff?
No, but I did take the OSCP before they started doing that. So
I took one recently, and you had to like put your cell phone up there, and you had to have 2 cameras watching you. And the weird thing was, at one point, I was on this really sort of kind of not hard question, but one of the ones where you have to get the right wrong answer. And I'm doing the whole Riker stroke the beard, thinking about it, and they beep. And it's like, what? And it said, don't put your hand over your mouth. And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Well, apparently, they believe that there's somebody in the room outside of the camera range that if you say, hey, what's on port 666? And they from the couch yell, oh, that's Doom. Okay, thanks. And then you type in the answer. They were literally.
Like, Doom would be on port 666 too.
No, it is. That's what it was. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
a well-known
port they use. Yeah, because they try to be like all fun about that. Yeah, that's a well-known one.
Use TCP. That was on APX network.
No, we use TCP. They added on TCP later on.
Yep.
I remember like the original Doom setting up like a LAN party, and it was all IPX network shit you needed.
Yep.
No,
I remember playing Duke Nukem 3D multiplayer with the IPX network, and it took like 45 minutes for everybody to get all their stacks loaded and get synced up, and
The link to the show notes is effed. Earl ends in D01. Edit. Give me a minute and I'll fix it. All right, I will fix it. I'll fix all the things except I can't fix Arthur. He's beyond being fixed. All right, I got the link. Now, where am I going to put it? I was going to put it in the chat. Here you go. All right. Oh, look, it has me as Adrian too. That's cool. I'm going to talk as Adrian now. I'm too sexy for my shirt. There we go.
I'm too sexy for the SJWs.
Yeah, there we go. So yeah, that is now in there, so you should be able to get it and use it. I don't think I can edit the one that's already in the show notes because it don't let me edit them once it's already been posted, unless I have access to Adrian's channel, which I don't. So, but you can get it from there. And it's the same one we use every week. It's the same exact link, It doesn't change. Unlike me, I change all and evolve all the time, always changing, always evolving. Next, so anyway, that remote software is vulnerable to a bunch of RCE exploits. So if you're going to be taking a test using that, I don't know, do it in a VM, which they probably won't allow anyway. Nightlion. So Nightlion security is in the news again. This time, they decided to let somebody fake hack them so that they could gather intel on them. Essentially, I can't stop thinking about sausages. I can't. They're delicious. They're nutritious. And, I mean, who else wouldn't love meat stuffed into, like, an organ? It's like the best thing ever. Anyway.
Well, haggis. I mean, you got to draw the line somewhere.
Haggis, yeah. Well, the Scots like the haggis, so.
Yeah, well, they also throw telephone poles for fun.
I don't think I could lift a telephone pole.
They can, and they can throw them.
Cabers off.
Sometimes when I'm taking a leak, I feel like I'm lifting a telephone pole. But anyway, so
that's what we call perception and deception.
Right. What actually happened here is, so this is kind of like a PR stunt, but not really. Krebs thinks it's a PR stunt, but the long and short of it is they leaked some info to a threat actor who they knew had ties to the threat actor they wanted to actually track. And knowing that this threat actor would share that information about a weakness in their API, essentially some undocumented API stuff that would allow them to compromise a machine that they were hosting that looked like one of their production boxes. And on that production box, they put a bunch of some legitimate info and some bullshit info just to see, once it got hacked, if they would take it and then share it online with other people. And of course they did.
But it's called a honeypot.
It was a honeypot. So there were actually four separate threat. Well, that's not right. 4 separate threat groups involved in this whole thing, where they all kind of worked together to take advantage of this and to share information among each other. And I mean, they all did it from the same dedicated box. It was not a VPN. It was like a VPS that they all shared as their attack infrastructure. And they also think these 4 groups are kind of like responsible for about 40% of all breaches that are not credit card related in the past 3 years. The reason they knew these guys would go after them was because they were screwing with them publicly, essentially like exposing their C2 architecture and all that kind of stuff. So they were not happy with them. And that's the long and short of it. There's more if you want to read it, obviously. I don't think anybody here wants to read the whole thing, though. It's fairly long.
So, TLDR, these people put out a honeypot for a publicity stunt and got what they wanted.
Yeah, they let somebody hack a honeypot of theirs by leaking info that made it possible to hack it, right?
We need to generate some PR. How can we do that?
Well, I mean, Krebs is definitely going to talk about us, right? I don't think Krebs even... I think Krebs is blocking me, along with Marcus and a bunch of other people for no apparent reason, at least on my main account. I don't think they're blocking any of my alternate accounts. Anyway, next thing we've got is generating a custom Cobalt Strike artifact with Pazur. So if you don't know what Cobalt Strike is, it is a tool written by Raphael Mudge that is geared towards red teamers, but is often used by bad guys because it's fairly easily cracked, as it is written in Java, and you can crack open the jar file, modify some text files, and make it so that it's a fully licensed version that will never expire fairly easily. And it's even documented on his own site how to do it. And then he warns people not to download cracked copies, because if you download a cracked copy, you don't know who cracked it and what else they put in there.
You're downloading Satan.
You wouldn't download a toaster. I would. I want bread.
Wait, you want bread?
Of course I want bread. Who doesn't want bread? Bread is great.
Yeah, but
carbs.
Why would you download a toaster to get bread?
Well, because if you're going to download a toaster and it makes you bread, why would you buy a toaster?
But toasters don't make bread. Toasters make toast.
Oh, there. So I'm working on very few cylinders today, man. I can't.
I'm spotting you, man.
No, I appreciate it, because
you're lifting the heavy weights, and I'm just saying. Now, wait a minute.
Speaking of lifting the heavy weights, I started working out today for the first time in years. And so last night I was volunteering somewhere where I was breaking down a lot of boxes and doing some heavy lifting shit. So I didn't sleep like at all last night, and I worked out today. So I'm shot. Like I'm beyond shot, and I have something else after this at 9:00. So I'm not
You are
all
beat
there.
like an 18th century orphan.
I am, but at least my hair is blonde now, right? So
Well,
that
you know, you got that going for you.
I do. I look like Fat Spike or Fat Malfoy, but I'm looking to lose the weight so I can
Fat
just look
Malfoy.
like Ugly Spike or Ugly Malfoy.
Yep.
Anyway, this goes on to talk about how essentially using this new functionality that has been provided by a third party, you can generate your own artifacts. Yeah. Essentially, this would be really useful if you wanted to use Cobalt Strike and make it look like somebody else is doing the attack. Is kind of what they're getting at. So, you want to make another threat actor look like they're the ones responsible for something? There you go. Fun stuff. Assessing the state of breach data and search services is the next article we're going to cover today. And yes, I know a toaster can't make bread, but it can make toast. But
Right.
I'm pretty toasted, and I haven't smoked up in months. All right, the next thing we have is Trevor Griffin talking about threat intelligence industry needing to provide affordable and competitive means of searching and monitoring credentialed exposures for organizations. Introducing the breached data as a service, right? We're talking like dehashed type sites or sites that let you search for credentials that have been leaked without having to first verify you own every single account, because sometimes you're doing like a pen test for a company and you want to see if they have any leaked accounts first. It's easier to just search it without having to manually verify every single freaking email belongs to each person. And, you can't do that with a pen test, but.
So credentials as a service. So it's crass.
And if you forget to pay your bill, you're procrastinating. So the traditional use case for breached data services are that they're used by criminals. It's like, I want to go hack this dude, so let me find out what his password is and then go test it on a bunch of services. They're even like Python scripts you can download that will run a set of creds through like everything you can think of possible. It's kind of like just a little quick rewrite of man, I can't even think of the tools I use now. Holy Hydra, where it'll just try multiple different sites with that info. So the ones that have been around, like WeLeak Info, that one, ironically itself, we talked about last week, had their own database leaked. Ironically not being the best word. Unfortunately, it was not the good database. The one which was like a combination of other database breaches that was leaked. The database that got leaked from them was their member database, which is also an interesting data set to have if you want to know who's buying leaked info. Also, Leaked Source was popular back in the day, along with Leakbase. They both were exact clones of the same site, and they were run by Russian criminals, and they had pretty decent data sources. And also, Dehashed is like the popular one everyone uses now because it's fairly cheap, and they have API access that's not too expensive. And I use it for work, not for play.
That's how you got into my porn collection.
Yeah. And I got to say, man, that disabled porn was pretty disturbing.
Yeah, but I'm disabled, so I'm allowed.
It is true. I think that's how it works.
Ableist punk.
Exactly. While many cyber criminals use the service as a tool to compromise accounts, many security researchers also use it. And this article goes on to talk about the WeLeak Info's data set and what was in there and what they found, and how the FBI has also used the same data to find people who hacked other stuff by using those passwords. Leaked Source, it's going to talk about, that was around like 2015 and 2017, I think. It was a precursor. Their search, this is what it looked like, right? Their search functionality was not the best. If you tried to do a wildcard search, you would likely, the site would just be like, fuck you. But
It should do that anyway for you putting special characters in an input field.
Right, just put like exclamation points in there, and like kind of like when you're trying to bypass a WAF, just using all the wildcard characters. Dhash makes a seemingly honest effort to market themselves to the cybersecurity industry, not just bad guys, right? So Dhash is kind of like gaining popularity. There is a threat intelligence industry. Also, a really good data set that was released about a month and a half, 2 months ago was called Comb, which was a combination of many breaches, which you could download for $2 or so from raid forums if you wanted to buy credits. And then somebody built a really cool Python script into that, and I haven't taken it apart to see exactly how it works, but I do know that you can search an entire very large data set very, very quickly locally on your own computer without setting up any SQL server or anything. And you're able to find usernames and passwords like not even 10 seconds after searching for them. And this is a gigantic data set. So I'm going to try and figure out how the fuck that works at some point. It's probably doing some kind of indexing, but it is cool. And I digress. I keep getting off the topic, but I do that. This is, of course, this is the site I was just talking about here. This is raid forums right here, right? These are some database.
Yeah, I found some cool stuff in there.
I found the voter database and like for my own state, like New York, and I looked up people who I know just to see what was in there, and like, yeah, that info is definitely accurate. And another thing was a few weeks ago there was a news article about that guy who shot up the Asian place, right? The 6 Asian places.
The Tub and Rub? Yeah,
the Tub and Rug places. That guy, they said in the news article, like, they don't know if he's, because people were claiming that he was like a Democrat Antifa person, and then they asked the people from the state, and it was Georgia, I think, and they're like, Georgia does not keep track of what party somebody is a member of. And I was like, that sounds like bullshit. So I pulled down the Georgia data set and I looked through it. I'm like, they definitely keep track of what party everyone's a member. They literally have a field in the database that says last party voted, and it's just it's an R or a D or a.
Well, that was the last party they voted for. That doesn't necessarily mean they are one of them.
It's true, but I mean, it's
because
also,
I'm neither a Democrat or a Republican, but I've been forced into voting for one or the other.
Right.
And there's no other choice.
They keep track of the party you register for because you can't vote in the primary if you're not a member of the party.
Mm.
But
and everyone tells the truth on that paperwork, I'm sure.
I'm sure. I mean, well, what? I guess voting in somebody else's primary could cause them to have a candidate they don't want. Could be some confusion. Let's talk about SpyCloud and ID Agent. So we've demoed SpyCloud at my job. It sucks. I mean, they have a decent data set, but they want you to verify every single email address you want to use with the freaking company. So if you're doing a pen test, it's fucking useless, right? You literally you can't do a wildcard search on a domain. It's garbage. Have I been pwned is great if you just want to see what breaches you're in, but not have access to that password or that breach. Then you can go down manually, pull down that breach from somewhere else if you want. It's a real pain in the ass. But say you don't have any money, right? And you don't have the ability to buy dehashed, right? Or maybe you're in a breach that's not indexed in dehashed, right? You can go pull it down manually, if you could find where it is. So that can work. So they talk about threat intelligence, but essentially the article is making a whole show of how many of these places are out there. Like there was vigilante.pw. I never even heard of that place before, but apparently they're around. But Dehashed has a lot more breached data in it than they do. WeLeakInfo had almost as much, but right now Dehashed has the most. And of course the raid forums has a lot of data in it, but none of it's indexed, and it's all in different files, and you got to pay for each file you want to download. So that, or comment sometimes. Go through all the indexing, all the shit, right? It's got fun things in there. Fun read if you are interested in that shit. I really got to step up my game because I got another thing to do at 9. We're going to talk about hacking smart farming. Smart farming. So we're talking like the things that distribute the water throughout the farm using little IoT sensors and
irrigation systems that use ancient legacy IoT systems.
Right.
Not even IoT. Not IoT. What was that shit that came before IoT that we used to wet ourselves over?
SCADA?
SCADA. Yeah, they're still using SCADA systems.
Yeah. A lot of SCADA shit's online that shouldn't be. Sometimes they're even
Windows
like
XP. Yeah. Windows XP shit exposed to the open internet.
I remember back in the VLC roulette days that I would always come across SCADA systems on there, and half the time they would be on like power plants and stuff, and I'd be like, "How the fuck is their VLC instance just exposed to the internet for everyone to see?"
A lot of times it's politics. It really, honestly, it's a lot of politics. Sometimes they'll get told you can't do that, and they're like, "Oh yeah, watch me," and they go home and they tell their kid, and their kid comes in there and does it and goes, "See how smart my kid is," and next thing you know, the Russians are making your plates blink on and off.
All right. So speaking of that, so not mentioned in this article, but from a few show notes back, Israel had a bunch of these irrigation systems online, and people from some Arab nations that are technically savvy were fucking with them.
And all of a sudden, the water turned into wine.
That would be so neat. I think like if you wanted to fuck with somebody and be like, I can turn water into wine, you just like palm some dehydrated wine and like
just
water go in there.
Just retask some old SCADA pumping systems.
That'd be great.
Ernest and Julio Gallo is over here, and Ding Dong Farm is over here. Watch this.
That'd be great. I remember there was a thing in Italy a while back where people would turn on the faucets and wine would come out, and you're like, "What the fuck? How is this happening?"
That was on purpose.
It was not on purpose. It was something to do with like a place that was making wine had like all their stuff just dump into the sewer accidentally, but for some reason it was backfeeding into the water rather than into the sewage area, and like people turn on the water and it would just be wine, which was pretty freaking cool. I would like that. I'd prefer that, honestly. Have wine.
A lot of people who would.
Yeah,
especially during lockdown, and wine consumption has gone through the roof.
I have a wine delivery service. I just get the wine all the time. It just shows up. It's like, more wine here. I give it out to my friends. I'm like, hey, you want a bottle of wine? They're like, okay. Yeah. So we should actually cover the article somewhat rather than just talking about it without reading it. So in the era dubbed smart architecture, with farms around the world scaling up their use of IoT, big data, and cloud computing, AI to increase yields and sustainability, yet with so much digital technology, naturally also comes heightened political cybersecurity vulnerabilities. There's no scaling back smart agriculture either. By the end of this decade, we will need all the extra food that it produces.
You know what? That is not correct. Ha ha ha.
We waste a lot.
You know why? It's not just a matter of waste. We do worse things than waste.
Here.
We have like food that is literally plowed under and destroyed simply because
they were doing that because they couldn't pick it up recently. Like when the pandemic started, they didn't have anybody to come. Who the fuck's phone is going off?
That's my phone.
Answer your damn phone.
I did. I killed it.
All right. So
with fire.
When the pandemic started, and the distributions changed because like restaurants were closing, and the food that the restaurants would normally get from these farms couldn't easily be just retooled to be sent to supermarkets, right? So a lot of the places were just like, you know what, fuck it, and they had cornfields, they just like plowed over them.
How do you retool food? Explain that to me.
Basically, if they're going to send it to a restaurant for processing in a commercial manner, it's going to have in certain size bags, usually large, like 50-pound bags, or it's going to have certain labeling that may be missing for commercial sale at a supermarket. So
none of that prevents it from being sold at a supermarket.
Yes, it does, because legally they can't. Some of it legally they cannot sell it because it's missing certain information, or it's in such large quantities that no supermarket can sell it. I mean, people aren't going to buy 100 pounds of onions. Most people are not.
Have you ever been to Costco?
Yeah, but they don't sell in that large of a quantity. They sell it. Yes, I have a membership with Sam's Club. I buy 20 pounds of potatoes because guess what? I can actually use 20 pounds before they go bad. But they sell them. They sell them by the crate. They sell them in 100, 200, 500-pound increments because guess what? They go through that many in a day. Your average consumer doesn't go through that many in a year, most likely.
No, yeah, but I mean, the thing is, there's nothing really preventing it. It's inconvenient.
All right, let me read the article on it so that we can all be on the same.
No, let me clarify here, okay? Say you've got your 500-pound thing of onions. You pay your.
Oh no! We can't hear Delchi anymore for some unknown reason. Anyway, U.S.
You're
farmers
funny.
destroyed millions of pounds of perishable food like tomatoes, lettuce, and green beans because farmers lost a vast number of customers after the coronavirus pandemic. It has been a disaster at every level. Lost crops, lost sales, and lost packing inventory. The closure of food service establishments in many parts of the country in March meant that the farmers who grow their produce for those customers suddenly have a lot of surplus in storage in the fields. And to find retailers or food banks failed, forcing them to plow under their own crops. Without immediate aid from the government, stimulus funding, they're willing to destroy more food. There you go. Now you can talk.
Yeah, no problem.
You don't want to talk? Okay. So it will be hard to.
I mean, part of the problem is he's trying to make the point of they don't want to do it because they're lazy, and that's not really true. The problem is it takes time and effort, and especially at a time when we have to have social distancing and workforce shutdowns and machine line shutdowns because of restrictions and whatnot. So the time it takes them to retool everything for I'll say residential sale means it's going to be rot, it's going to be lost, and by the time they actually end up selling it, they're going to be selling it at a loss anyways. If they take it and plow it over, guess what? It goes back into the soil. That means that it's less worry about buying fertilizer or other soil treatments to get ready for next year's crop. So it's less of a wash that way, at least. It's still a wash, but it's less of a wash.
Right, and they can write it off if they destroy it, but they can't write it off if they send it to the package.
That's a good point, yep.
So, nowhere for it to go. When the restaurants are shut down, there's nowhere for this food to go, said Alan. Alan is the chairman of the Florida Fruit and Vegetable Association. He said he donates food regularly to food pantries and that he hates to destroy crops, but he couldn't face the exposure and the expensive harvest with nowhere to send it. It's partially because green beans are highly perishable. About half the crop in Florida already normally goes to hotels and restaurants that are for the most part now closed or not doing a lot of business. And the demand for fresh vegetables also plummeted in rich cropland near San Francisco, according to some dude from California. Demand from restaurants or food service is way down, which represents about 300 farms and processing companies. We're trying to shift strategy away from food service and to retail outlets, but it doesn't happen overnight. Many retail businesses saw a surge in buying as people stocked up to isolate at home, but even that has dropped off. And major harvest season happened back when this article was written, which is not now, obviously. So that's what we were talking about. And I mean, the article goes on more. It's not in the show notes because I just pulled it up now. But yes. Sorry for cutting you off, AP. I was just teasing, mostly. Next, we have the latest Mirai variant is targeting SonicWall, D-Link, and IoT devices. They just keep adding devices to this botnet because, I mean, if you had a botnet this size and you could just add more devices to it, wouldn't you? If you were a bad guy, as more and more proof of concept exploits become available for different things like the unpatched D-Link routers, the Netgears, the SonicWall devices. SonicWall being hilarious that they used their own SonicWall devices and then got hacked. I thought that was hilarious. But IoT stuff is getting popped because of this Mirai botnet. If you have anything exposed to the internet, like on port 80 or 443, and you just kind of like monitor that traffic for a day, you're going to see a whole bunch of botnets just tossing exploit after exploit at you, even if it's not, running that particular thing. They don't terminate. They'll just send the payload,
I saw so many WordPress exploits against boxes, and they're not even running WordPress. They're running it's literally a box running flat HTML files, and they're throwing WordPress exploits at it, all kinds of shit. It's like,
right? Wow.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean it's a botnet. It's not well coded. It's designed to spread and not to test first.
It's a bunch of skids. Yeah, it's obvious.
I mean, you could easily put it like a try catch in your code. You like see what web server it is first, and then if it matches this list, throw the exploit at it. But I mean, they're not really caring about trying to be stealthy here. They just want as many things popped as possible. They're also going after the visual door exploit. It's in that old SSL VPN software that SonicWall has. It's going after a bunch of other RCE and command injection vulnerabilities. Typical shit you'd expect to see, right? They're also going after Telnet, which I don't know why people are still using Telnet. Not that it's inherently insecure, even though it doesn't have any, encrypted capability to it. But I don't know why people still have Telnet exposed to the internet at all. We just use SSH at this point. It's fairly easy to also just wrap Telnet in SSH if you have to. There are also some botnets are brute forcing. It's not always just going after known exploits. Sometimes they try common passwords like admin, or what else is on that list of common passwords? God, love. I don't know. Yeah, there are a lot of things on Telnet with Shodan. Coinbase was fined $6.5 million over trading irregularities right at the time they decided to go IPO. They're not discussing other investigations related to the Ethereum and Bitcoin Cash thing that are going on. Long term, the story is essentially that the CFTC has fined Coinbase over activities related to its in-house trading software. They alleged a former employee had also engaged in wash trading related to Litecoin. Anybody here know what the hell wash trading is? I imagine it's something to do with like a tumbler. No? Anyone alive besides me? Is everybody just muted? Why are you all muted?
I have no idea what that is.
Okay. Very good then. The GDAX platform is now called Coinbase Pro, and it recklessly delivered false, misleading, and inaccurate reports concerning transactions in digital assets such as Bitcoin, according to allegations here. It's too bad that the crypto guy is not on with us this week. He's on often enough. It's Nathan, right? Why is everybody so quiet?
Sorry, I was talking to my wife.
Oh, can you say hi for me?
Okay.
Frank says hi.
I don't know that much about crypto.
I know a little about it. I know that I own some.
Yeah, I have a little bit too.
So, wash trading is a synonym for insider trading with a twist. Well, Nelson, what's the twist? All right. So, also, threat actors are trying to exploit the vulnerability in the F5 firewall. Make it a little bigger. There we go. So there's ongoing attack aimed at exploiting the recently patched vulnerability in the F5 Big IP and Big IQ networking devices. There is proof of concept available out there, and it's being pulled down by a lot of bad guys, and they're, using it in their stuff. This article I found interesting. It's not all that technical, but it talks about how this guy keeps getting phone calls from realtors, right, who think that he owns this piece of property that he doesn't own. And it turns out that the phone number that they have, somehow it's one of his exes from like 8 years ago. She must have used his phone number at some point, and then they tied her name to his phone number, and now they keep calling him up trying to buy her property. But they all use like the same lead generating software, and it doesn't say what the name of that software is. I'd like to find that out actually. And that he was able to get somebody who called him up to say, I say what the reason was, why they keep calling them. It's like, how do you get this number? And they go, my team and I have access to software that allows us to get information on New York City property owners. And wow, I made it bigger and I lost the screen. Explained the person he talked to, and he said this is only for the sole purpose of providing the best to our clients' commercial real estate needs. No information is given out or shared. But I'm wondering what the software actually is, that's got all these inside info on, who owns what, and it's probably a little bit more detailed than whatever Zillow has, right? So looks interesting. That's all the takeaway from that article I really cared about. The next thing is dark web takedowns, how cyber criminals adapt and evolve after being exposed. Now, Arthur, you've been exposed before, right? Arthur? Are you still muted, Arthur? Can't unmute you because you muted yourself. All right.
Well, with the previous article, my parents were doing real estate for a while, and they actually do have ways to do background checks to see who owned what property for how long and their contact information and stuff.
Oh, neat.
Yeah, and you know how Antifa doxes everybody is right. They use the State Department's information. They have people from the Democratic Socialists of America that work in the State Department, and they illegally use the government stuff to to dox people's stuff, and it's really bad.
That's pretty messed up. I mean, getting an account with like Intellius or one of those data brokerage firms is fairly easy and requires nothing more than money. So I'm surprised they're going through the lengths of using actual government systems to do this. But yeah. So this is a little ZDNet.
Yeah, well, they're doing famous people and stuff, and people that are in the media and on TV and stuff. They would have
people taking down their real info. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Emotet, one of the biggest and most disruptive.
20 minutes long. Fuck that. I thought it was a short one. Never mind. We don't care that much. Swiss firm says it has accessed the servers of a SolarWinds hacker. That I found interesting. So that is a long ass write up too. But oh no, did I run out of articles? Oh, that's fine. I'm just gonna do the whole. Where is the thing here? Go here, click that, and then F5. Boom! It's gone.
There
all right,
you go. That's how you do it.
Exactly. The Swiss cybersecurity firm says it has accessed servers used by a hacking group tied to the SolarWinds breach, revealing details about how the attackers targeted and how they carried out their operation. The firm ProDaft also said the hackers have continued with their campaign this month. They were able to break into the hackers' computer infrastructure and review evidence of a massive campaign between August and March, which targeted thousands of companies and government organizations across Europe and the U.S. The aim of the hacking group, dubbed Silverfish by researchers, was to spy on victims and steal data. It was an extremely sophisticated cyber attack on at least 4,720 targets, including government institutions, global IT providers, yada, 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 everybody. They used other methods to attack their victims besides SolarWinds as well. And they don't attribute the attacks to a known hacking organization or country, though they describe Silverfish as an apt group, standing for Advanced Persistent Threat. I think they thought it was Russia, too. And I'm pretty sure it is Russia. We all know about the whole SolarWinds thing with their updates. It talks about that for like a couple of paragraphs here. They choose not to pursue attacks against victims originating from Russia, Ukraine, Georgia, or Uzbekistan, meaning it's probably originating from one of those countries. Also, they wrote comments in Russian slang and vernacular. More leaning towards a Russian-speaking country. What is perhaps the most striking from this report is the highly organized professionalism of the threat actor. it is clear the hackers were highly skilled, well-funded, and operating with a clearly defined mission brief. So they're all on the same page. What is known about their command and control architecture, their platforms that they set up to receive and send out commands to infected victims, was that there was a security weakness in the configuration of 2 servers, and they were able to gain access to them. They found lists of compromised organizations, along with evidence indicating the hacker group had been actively targeting victims since August. The researchers described one of the more shocking discoveries being that the attackers created a web panel for testing their malicious payloads on victims' defenses, testing to see if antivirus or other threat hunting products would flag their shit. So I'm imagining they set up their own little sandbox, like any one of those services where you can just upload a sample and then it will run it against a VM. But maybe they actually put antivirus on that and automate the whole thing. Just here, market. Yep. Going back to what we were talking about before, the twist with the crypto thing, the buyer and seller are the same person under an alias, and they're playing the market. The pump and dump uses at some point, to simulate an exponential market. Cool. I did not know that. Thank you for telling me. Spacex Engineer's dark web insider trading sparks an SEC first. Fuck that. Turn off the fucking thing. Bonk. Plonk. Oh no, it didn't work. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Damn you, Wired. I just wanted to read the article. What am I going to do here? How am I going to do this real quick? Reload the page. Close. Maybe if I just block the element out. Old school, all right? I'm tired. I don't want to do this now. The easier way to do this would just be to go Firefox. I'm lazy. Yep. Nope. Bonk. That should work. Yay. You know. All right. Go away. So, on the dark web, Millionaire Mike was a busy guy. As far back as 2016, the account with the moniker bought names, addresses, DOBs, and socials on the underground marketplace that traffics in illicit online goods. He then took that personal info to open bank accounts in the names of unwitting strangers and used those accounts to make trades based on insider information he gleaned from others. Eventually, he sold the purported insider information himself to an undercover FBI agent. Millionaire Mike is James Roland Jones, a 33-year-old SpaceX engineer who has now pled guilty to conspiracy to commit securities fraud. A criminal complaint by the Justice Department details a string of investments Jones made from 2017, mostly through an unnamed conspirator's account, based on phony insider information provided by an undercover Fed. That summer, the relationship would flip, and Jones told the undercover agent on July 25th what an unnamed company's earnings would be, investing $5,000 on his behalf, and 2 days later, the numbers came out. They were identical.
Now, how do the feds just have undercover agents just lurking around all these places at the right time? How is this working? I want to know this.
Well,
you know what I mean?
I'd imagine the feds probably can see everyone's Google searches. From there, they can just kind of infer what they need to.
No, I know. But how does the guy get in contact with the Fed? The Fed just happens to be, around where in a convenient position for him to make this compromising thing. A lot of this sounds like entrapment to me. That's what I'm saying. Like if the Fed wasn't there offering the thing, I don't think the guy would have done it.
Right. So a few Darknet Diaries episodes ago, he actually had a guy on there who was talking about they're essentially a spy, and they're paid by corporations to go and make contacts with people who they find can be beneficial and like flip whistleblowers, right?
Yeah.
And I don't remember the whole episode, but I don't think it was too many ago. So, see if I can find it real quick here. Cam Carter, Jet Setters, NSA Crypto, Master Depone, The Vendor, The Whistleblower, episode 80, The Whistleblower. In that one, they hear a story of a social engineer whose job it is to get people to do things they don't want to for profit.
Oh, yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
It's the Sentinel.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but see, that's just like paid informants. You know, they're not cops, but they're not, you know, really on the criminal side either. They sit there and what they do is they get people to do stuff and get them busted. You know.
Yeah. This episode was about a guy called Thanks to Canary, and Thanks to Canary attracted malicious actors in the network, and then would send you an alert if someone tried to access them.
So he's kind of like a human honeypot.
Oh, I totally misread that because I'm tired. That's not.
Oh.
That was literally their like sponsor in the episode.
Oh,
I suck so bad. I have poor reading comprehension.
That's all right. I fell asleep just now. I woke up. That's why I was late to the cast. I had like 55 web tabs open because I fell asleep with my finger on the on the trackpad.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I had like 55 Facebook tabs open when I woke up.
You've been on a cast for a while though.
I was on last week.
Oh,
I had been on before that
okay.
for a while. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So this particular episode was really good. The Whistleblower. Essentially, it's the guy he goes and he persuades people to turn on their own companies, but he does it in such a way where he actually befriends them while pretexting to be somebody who he builds up an identity of somebody who this person would be friends with, becomes that person, and then social engineers that person and becomes their friend. And
yeah, see, that's what I was thinking would have to happen. Nobody just comes out of anywhere and just does that type of thing.
Like,
you know what I mean?
People and like he just kind of
right.
like.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. That would make sense.
Yeah. It's espionage, corporate espionage.
Right. That
Good
makes
episode.
sense.
I highly recommend you listening to it.
Is it just on its own site or is it on Netflix or something?
It's a podcast that's
a podcast.
Much higher quality than our podcast. Done by a guy named Jack Resider, who is a Facebook friend of mine who I don't know in real life. And he is he does an amazingly well-produced podcast where he interviews people and tells the stories of things that happened online. Not necessarily online, but think of like true crime, but digital, you know?
I love that type of stuff.
It's really good. You should check it out.
Yeah, I'm checking it out. I'm looking at it right now.
This week's Irongeek podcast brought to you by Darknet Diaries. We don't have sponsors. We don't make any money. We're all poor. All right. Next is probably
we should get RMS to sponsor us.
We can get any number of VPN services to sponsor us.
No, I mean Richard Stallman.
I know.
Sponsor us
by Stallman's beard.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. By Stallman's beard oil and his toe picking flavor.
Yeah.
Of toe crusties. Stallman's toe crusties.
He is good at putting his foot in his mouth, so I imagine good. Yes.
Oh wow, this Darknet Diaries looks awesome.
It is. It's really good. It's like my favorite podcast. So Irongeek podcast is obviously my favorite podcast, but that one's
right.
Next, we have Hacker Spotlight interview with Pero. I think I'm saying that right. I mean, it's got an E and 3 and, lead speak in there. But Pero on Hacker One is a guy who until 2019 didn't even do bug bounties, but then found out they pay really good and decided to learn how to do them and got really good at them by watching these hacktivity reports that you can read online. You can read them or
Oh yeah, those are good. Those are awesome.
Yeah. I honestly have not even looked at them, but they look pretty cool. So
Well, they kind of break down.
yeah, the way the exploit chain. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he learned quickly, and in his first 2 months, he did 4 bug bounties. This was game changing for him since he didn't have any IT background to begin with. And then he learned hacking skills, and
Nice.
he discovered hacking. It talks about how he lost his job in 2018. He was living on side jobs, and all he had to do was find an error and report it. Why not do that, right? And then he's like, maybe I won't make $1 million, but I could make a living doing this. But he got better over time, and before you knew it, he was making some decent buck just doing these bug bounties.
Yeah, well, it's desperately needed. They need a lot more people to do it.
He also lives in Latin America, so
wow,
it's worth a little bit more in some.
Yeah, that probably helped him a lot. I was thinking about doing this for a while.
Yeah, I have some bug bounties under my belt. I also have.
Oh, really? Nice.
I also have some things that I've reported that I did not find doing bug bountying, and I don't report those things. Yeah, I try to do like responsible disclosure, but sometimes these can be assholes and
yeah.
So I don't use my real name for that shit. Like I have
that's smart
entity set up for that. Like in some country that does not have an extradition treaty with the U.S. and doesn't have cybersecurity laws.
Yeah, but you got to have good OPSEC no matter what you're doing.
My OPSEC is not 100% great. I have an isolated VM for that shit, right?
Right.
It's on its own VPN, but I mean, it's still on the same physical machine when you think about it. And if you listen to like Dual Core in Ten Commandments, he talks about don't use your own box for any reason. Like,
yeah.
Don't hack from home. Don't care.
Right.
It's a smart idea, but it's not always possible.
Well, it's not always practical,
Yeah.
Because sometimes you got limited resources and it's just not always. I mean, it's a good idea, like when I was a criminal, right? We used to have a rule: never break the law while breaking the law. You know what I mean? Like if you're going to do
necessary attention to yourself.
Exactly. If you're going to do a delivery, make sure you don't have a tail light out. Make sure your insurance on your car is good. All that type of stuff. You know what I mean? Don't do stupid stuff that gets you busted. Most cops, they stumble on most things. You know what I mean? They've got no idea what's going on.
Routine traffic stop, and the guy's got a bunch of pot in the car. It's like
exactly, or a bunch of guns or something, or exactly.
Or if you're like transporting a bunch of pot, don't be smoking pot in the car at the same time.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's like how they got Al Capone. They got him for tax evasion because of that,
right? Rather than taxes.
Because because instead of the mob activities, they got him for tax evasion because they could actually get him for that. They could find that.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. This whole interview is actually really good. I recommend you guys read it if you're interested in that kind of stuff. We do have a bunch more to cover, and we're running out of time, so I'm gonna move forward. Acer was hit for 50 million ransomware. Acer making shitty laptops since forever. So Bleeping Computer and The Record and a whole bunch of other people are talking about how they got popped with the Exchange vulnerability, and now they got ransomware on their network. Look. It also shows that not only are they running an on-prem Exchange server, but they don't even have it in a freaking DMZ or something. It's literally on the same network. So that's stupid. The Grug on Twitter, who blocks me on most of my accounts, has started this website called 0 Day Fans, which I find hilarious. It's pretty much just like a news feed for 0 Day stuff, but the name and the logo I think is great. Anyway, GitLab critical security release. In other words, if you've got a GitLab instance, it's time to update that shit immediately. Otherwise, you're going to end up like Acer with the Exchange.
Oh, no.
Right?
That was bad.
Yeah, that Exchange hack is still paying dividends.
Yeah, well, you sent that in because of my friend's... you showed me that because of my friend's forum thing,
Mm-hmm. What did I do now?
The knife forum. I was asking about just a way to get
Oh,
rid of the things. Yeah, a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you showed me that, and I was like, oh wow, that's bad. And so I don't even know how to address it to him now, because that's a big job to have to, because the whole, I mean, it's a whole mess. You remember it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got to migrate that whole thing over to something new, and
and I don't think he has the time right now either, you know what I mean? So I don't even want to bring it up.
It's just going to be labor intensive, and it's
Yeah,
not really technical. There are scripts made to do all the transition for him, but
you still have to do it and let it run. It's going to be a couple of, I don't know, a couple
days.
Yeah, a couple hours, days or something. I don't know. Because that thing's been running for like 7-8 years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's got to be a ton of data.
Yeah. The next thing we have is the ZH Trap botnet uses honeypots to find more victims, which I think is cool. So, as you know, botnets spread as far and wide as they can, usually using very similar methodology, looking for like the same exploit over and over again and just doing port scanning, finding it. But this one is using a kind of novel, not a novel, it's used elsewhere, but clever. They're using a honeypot, and then they're seeing who hits their honeypot. And when they see somebody hit their honeypot, if they're trying to use an exploit that they know of, they then try that same exploit on the people hitting the honeypot, assuming that it's probably somebody from another honeypot. So they're taking over other honeypots. They're taking over other systems that have been compromised by other threat actors.
Oh wow!
By looking at the exploit that's being thrown.
That's actually a really good idea.
It's clever as fuck. So in and of itself, it propagates with these like 4 different IoT vulnerabilities, like an old Netgear, right? But
Netgear's almost as bad as D-Link, man.
Yeah. I mean, if you just replace
Linksys is horrible also.
Linksys is good if you want a router to hack with. Like you want.
Well, you can play with them. You can play with them. You can put custom things on them and stuff, and mess around with them and stuff. But their natural stuff is exploitable easily.
Right. You don't want to leave the default firmware on there, and if you absolutely are going to leave the default firmware on there, at least make sure it's the latest version and not some ancient ass version from when the thing was made.
Well, I'm running one, but it's behind my other router, my new router. I'm running that just as a NAP line behind my current one, so I can just go, plug right in. I don't have it on Wi-Fi or anything.
I do the same thing, so I can do span traffic.
Exactly.
I have the first router comes in, and then it goes directly from the router with no Wi-Fi into the switch. The switch splits the thing, and then it goes into another router. That router has Wi-Fi, but it has DHCP being done from the first router.
Right.
So it's pretty much acting like a WAP,
Exactly.
A wet ass pussy. Yeah. So many botnets scan. They did a whole propagation thing, right? This honeypot thing is genius, honestly.
It's really brilliant.
I like it. I think it's cool. That's why I put it in the show notes.
You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of reverse SSH tunneling, because it's just going right back up the thing. You know, it's literally going right back up the exploit, but it's just like for exploits.
Right. The only thing with that is you generally want to do it when you're establishing the tunnel in the first place, right?
Right.
Do a reverse SSH tunnel. You can do it in an existing tunnel. It's just a pain in the ass. You have to modify the client side rather than the server side to get it working.
Yeah, that's hard.
You can do it. I mean, like if you're running a putty session, it's fairly trivial. You just open the damn thing up and you go and you look in the settings and you maybe add a port forward and hit it to like dynamic on 8080, and then you go up 8080 the other way, and then you can browse through like your browser, doing like you have your browser on your computer. You set it to use like a proxy on 8080, and that 8080 port is now bound to that SSH on 8080. So when you're going up the tunnel, it's like you're browsing through their computer onto that network. So you can hit other computers. Yeah, it's like you're doing just like you can even chain it with another proxy server if you're using proxy chains, and then run burp on top of it. So
Oh wow,
to get in that way, you can essentially scan all the computer's web
packets.
addresses through Burp, even though you're not technically on their corporate network. Like you
Nice.
just hop in that way. It's clever shit. It's if the whole methodology is explained fairly easily with the syntax in the blue team field manual and the red team field manual. So if you just want like the syntax, you just grab that PDF or actually pay for a copy and have like a hard copy and look through it. But if you just want
Yeah, I'll have to get a copy of those.
they're good books. I think they have a new one called Purple Team Framework. I have not framework, field manual, but I haven't read through it yet. It looks interesting though.
Look at that one too.
They're very little thin books. They're pretty much just reference books for looking up syntax.
Well, that's a I've gotten a couple of car accidents. So like if I'm not constantly doing something, I'll forget like simple commands and stuff. So I need like reference material all the time. I'm constantly Googling stuff, just how to do simple things, just because I forget names and stuff. It's a pain. So a good hardcore hardcover, real life,
Yeah. I've also come across some pretty good things written in Cherry Tree, which is like a note-taking app.
Yeah. I saw that some for programming. You can use it for
yeah, it's good. But somebody has put together a whole like their OSCP notes in Cherry Tree, and there's some really
nice
syntax stuff in there that you can find. Let's see if I can find my copy of it real quick. I don't want everything launching on that fucking page. That could be disastrous. Let's take the thing off for a second. Hey, there I am. Everything. And find it real quick. I think it was called Cherry Tree Notes or Notes. OSCP Notes. Exam. No, that's not it. Show notes is how is it still broken? Barry, I'm sorry that it's broken. I thought I fixed it. So I had it a while ago. I forget what it was called. Start at CTV would probably work. Cherry Tree, that's the format they use, right? Cherry Tree Notes. Yeah, there we go. It's in my OneDrive, so that should. Oh, I don't even have Cherry Tree installed on here. Oh, I had to reinstall Windows a few weeks ago because I thought I saw something malicious, and then it turned out not to.
Yeah, I remember you were listening on your own line, and you saw it, right?
Yeah, that was not fun.
I did that once. I changed my stupid I changed all my passwords because I saw myself get logged in from a box that I didn't know, and it's just because I was running a VM, and I forgot that I was running in the VM, I was running a VM and a VPN, so it said it was like from Denmark or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I was like. Or I was running Tor. I was doing something, and it came in from somewhere I didn't recognize, and I changed all my passwords quick.
Yeah. I was actually running Tor in the Windows subsystem for Linux, and that flared up my IDS.
Yeah.
What the hell? I'm gonna do a Choco install Cherry Tree so I can show you real quick this notebook. Sad that I don't have it installed on here. It just shows I have been slacking off for my studying and not looking at my notes often enough. I do really like Choco for package management. It makes life so much easier. You don't have to worry about all the individual programs you have installed, looking for the installers and shit, and like updating them manually.
For Windows?
Choco. Yeah, Choco's like apt for Windows. It's great.
Oh, nice. I was gonna say that's one of the things I like about Linux is all I have to do is just you install something. I don't have to manually do it. It just does everything for it. It does all the drivers, all that stuff. That's cool. I never heard of Choco.
Yeah, chocolatey. It's called chocolatey. I call it Choco. But
chocolately, nice.
It's very easy to use, and you can do a whole like app update -y, and then like app upgrade -y, and it'll upgrade every program that it's got a package manager for.
Oh, that's cool.
So you don't have to individually do it. It's very useful. Anyway, now I've got that, so I'm gonna.
Yeah, I actually find myself liking Windows 10 a lot. I just don't like all the privacy stuff that they're doing on there that I don't like.
Like what?
The keylogger and stuff that they're supposed to have on there.
Oh, you're talking like the telemetry stuff.
Yeah, all the telemetry stuff. Exactly, all the telemetry.
You can disable that. There's actually programs they wrote that'll disable all that shit for you.
Oh, really? Nice.
Yeah, I'll find one for you later and pop it in the show notes at the end.
Okay.
So I wanted to show you guys this. This is the notebook, one of the notebooks I found that's amazingly detailed and has a whole bunch of really good stuff in here. I don't think you can see it that well. I can make it bigger though.
Yeah.
Right. So it's got all these freaking notes in here about like everything pen test wise, like bypassing UAC. Right.
Oh wow.
Cobalt Strike stuff. You got like all these great notes on
nice
stuff and like custom payloads, even just like regular syntax stuff like nmap commands for different.
Yeah. That's like that stuff, like the nmap stuff. Just a port scan. Sometimes I forget
forwards.
I forget that completely, and I got to relook it up all the time.
Right. You can do the whole port forward section here. Right. So you can.
Oh, nice.
Yep. The whole PowerShell section is in here too. I
haven't played around with PowerShell yet.
Yeah, PowerShell is very similar to Bash. Well, that's probably not accurate at all. PowerShell is very different than Bash, but it's useful like Bash. In that
it's that's what I heard. I heard it's actually it's like the command, it's like the DOS command line, but you can actually do stuff on it now.
Right, it's like a more powerful version of that. But
yeah, because the Microsoft basically killed the command line in Windows.
Right, and I got a whole privilege escalation section on here. Talks about
nice
chain syntax, right? So is how you can route your stuff through multiple proxy servers.
Oh wow,
shit. Got a whole red team section on top of all that stuff, where they talk about like Bloodhound. Bloodhound is a program that you can use that will map out a Windows domain network and find the quickest way to domain administrator for you, and it'll show a pretty graph. What you do is you get access to like a box, and you run this tool called Sharphound, and it generates a file, and you take that file and import it into Bloodhound, and it will like make a whole pretty graph thing for you, showing you where all the computers are and like what groups.
It'll map up the whole network for you.
It maps out the whole thing with the permissions and shows you like.
Oh, nice.
So there was a really easy way to like just Kerberos into the domain admin role. They would show you which SPNs you can leverage to do that. It's a really cool tool.
Wow.
Yeah, and also privilege escalation, and this notebook alone is like fucking worth its weight in gold. And I just found it one day when I was doing my thing. I didn't write this. My own notes are not this good or detailed. And you got like the Wi-Fi hacking section. Talk about the air crack syntax, WEP, crapping WPA. You know how to grab a handshake from a PCAP file, right? And then
nice.
Right? All these fun things. It's definitely a useful file. Anyway.
Oh, that's good stuff.
Yeah, man. What else do we have? Oh, Nelson has to go. You have a nice week, Nelson. It's been
Take it easy, Nelson.
It's one I found. I don't know which notebook is this. Give me a second. I will find that out for you. Hold on. Right. Just kill my screen for a second. Everything. Go back. Find the notebook again. Start CTD. Find the notebook. And then look at where it is. Open the path. Grab the... Where did I clone this from? Yeah, I will. If I can find my source. Just give me 1 second. Cherry tree notes. Where the hell did I get this?
Yeah, another thing I like about Linux is there's so much open source for stuff. You don't have to pay for anything. You know what I mean?
True.
Like it makes if you're broke like me, it really makes your computing life easy. You know?
It does. I mean, look, you can get a copy of Windows 10 for $5 on eBay if you just buy it from some sketch place. I mean, it'll pass validation, and that's all you really give a shit about. It's not like you're getting audited by the say anytime.
Well, even now, Windows 10, you can just use it, but they just disable some features unless you pay for it. You
Right,
know,
you can use it forever.
yeah, you can use it forever, but
you just can't change like your background or
yeah, you can't change your background exactly. You can't do all that stuff. So, but having an authorized copy, you can do more stuff. It'd be nice.
Yeah.
You can get those off of eBay. You said
Yeah, $5 on eBay.
nice. I'll have to get one of those. Because I
Uh,
usually like having a dual boot system or running one in a VM or something.
yeah, I think this is it. Just give me a second here, guys. I'm
Sure.
trying to see if this is it. Here it is. It's here. So let me put this. Scotty, I'm going to put this in the show notes, and then I'm going to paste it in the cast as well. You just give me 1 sec here. All right. Cool Keep Note Pen Testing Notebook number 31. No, I don't want that to be 31. I move that down a little. All right. Put down. All right, it's going to be number 45 in show notes. No problem there, Scotty. I don't know. This is one of the better ones I found. I have found others like this, but I like this one a lot. So that's in there. And now I think I have to play this.
Where'd you get that? You get that on a forum somewhere?
If memory serves, I saw somebody link to it in a Reddit post.
Oh, nice.
I was in like the RNetsec community, and then
Right.
I went and I was looking at it, and I was like, "Holy shit, these are really good notes."
Oh,
So,
right on.
yeah, but you know, I have to play this now.
Everybody, got a little special thing I'd like to do tonight. Play a little song for you about the nastiest, freakiest little sex puppet I know, Fiona. This one's for you, baby. Happy anniversary.
What movie is that from?
Eurotrip.
Oh, I don't think I've ever seen that. Is that Matt Damon?
No, that is Kristen Cruick from Smallville up there.
Oh, he looks just like Matt Damon, doesn't he?
A little. I mean, it's really poor resolution too. So.
Oh. We got to look at the show notes. Show notes.
He doesn't know. He doesn't know. Love that song. We're totally gonna get a copyright strike for that, but it was fair.
Page is missing.
Page is missing. What
I
page?
went to show notes
What page is
and the link for the show notes.
missing? For which one? Give me a number.
Docs. The first one, it says show notes. Says Docs Google in the YouTube.
Yeah. Go here. Look in the chat. Use that.
Okay. Thank you.
The link that is in here, I copied from another cast, and I guess that cast it wasn't.
Oh yeah. I think they get deleted or something.
Yeah. So that's the share that you can use. It should always work. It should be like a thing, but you know, you do what you got to do.
Yeah. Well, everybody's busy, right?
Right.
I should probably be helping out more because I'm not working or anything. I probably should be helping out more on this stuff. Help give Adrian and you guys a break. Some of this stuff.
It's always appreciated.
I'm happy to do it. I've got the time. I know how to do it. It's not like, it's complicated stuff.
Right. So next we're going to talk a little bit about how Microsoft is warning that a lot of phishing attacks are bypassing email gateways because, you want your email gateway to stop phishing, but a lot of email gateways are not stopping phishing. The Great Compact campaign, which has been around since early 2010, 20.
Well, I've noticed they're getting through a lot more just on my private. You know what I mean? I'm
What they're
getting a
doing is
lot more
they're
stuff
using-
that's getting through the spam filter.
what they're doing is they're compromising email marketing companies or people who are using
Oh,
it, right? And then they're
Uh-huh.
sending malicious emails from legitimate IP ranges, so they will get through past the filter, because the filter will block people using like their own little server they set up, or just pushing pushing an email out directly from their own computer, which you can do.
Right.
But they block a lot of them on like block lists that show like this has been used for phishing before. But a lot of these companies that do essentially mass marketing stuff, they're whitelisted. Like they pay for the privilege to not get blacklisted. So the attackers are just using them, right? They're using these very good lures that kind of like, hey, a file was shared with you, and then it'll have some enticing file name. When you click it, it brings you to a fake login page for Office 365, and you pop your credentials in, and now they have your creds. It's
Oh no.
or be like, hey, you have a Zoom meeting about your job that's very important, and you click it, and then Zoom comes up, or it looks like Zoom, but it's not really hosted in Zoom, and then you enter your Zoom credentials, and they steal your Zoom account, and then they use your Zoom account to fuck with other people.
Well, just like how on a gun, your finger is the real safety. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
On computers, what you click on, like if you're not expecting an email for somebody, I mean, people have to use common sense. You know what I'm saying?
Correct.
Like,
but I think that's sorely lacking.
But dude, all you have to do is brief people on this and then enforce it. Otherwise,
easier said than done, man.
I understand that. But I mean, because I can't get. I tell my parents, like, don't click on that. Well, it's the computer told me to click on. Like, that's not the computer telling you that. You know what I mean? It's like, but I don't know, man. There needs to be more education.
Well,
because you have to be somewhat not only computer literate but security literate these days. You know what I mean? Because because everything is linked, you will be ruined. If they get your passwords, they'll get your bank accounts, everything gone, and you won't even know it sometimes.
True. Well, the thing is, password reuse is also a big issue, and people not two-factoring important things is another issue. So,
yeah, well, I two-factor everything.
Right.
And my passwords, I'm using a password manager, and I'm going through and just randomizing everything that I don't have to have, like, I have to know it if because sometimes the password manager doesn't work, or I'm on my phone and my phone's not working.
I love LastPass, but they changed their pricing model.
Yeah, I switched.
Which sucked.
I switched to Bitward.
Yeah,
Bitward. You can import your LastPass. You can export your LastPass, all your passwords, and it goes right into Bitward, and it works perfect. And Bitward's open source too. I was using LastPass too. I loved LastPass, but they did that new billing thing where you only can have one device, and I'm like, nope, that's not gonna work for me.
So what I was doing before I decided to just freaking buy it was I exported my stuff, started another account, used the same email, and it did a plus LastPass, with like the Google alias, and then with the second account, I just imported the same creds that were in the first account, and I used the second account on mobile and the first account on the computer. And
that's a good idea.
Yeah, it works fine. And then I was like, finally, fuck it, I'm just gonna buy it because it was cheap enough.
Yeah. I just don't like being pressured into that. It's like the way capitalism should work is the longer something's around, and the you should get more features for cheaper. And it seems like the software models are the exact opposite. You get less features the longer it goes, and you got to pay more. You know what I mean? And I have a severe problem with that. It hurts my head. You know what I'm saying? It gives me glitches.
Yeah. next we have some shitty stuff Google decided to do.
Oh boy.
So, Google has removed the privacy-focused Clear URLs Chrome extension. I've talked about this extension in previous casts, where when you click on
Dude,
Google,
what they have a war on extensions that are actually useful, man.
so say you went on Google, right, and you typed in bleepingcomputer.com, and then you click the first link. The first link, when you click it, would be like this. See, google.com, URL question mark, and then a whole bunch of variables showing then you get the website, and then like a tracking number, and then a whole bunch of other things, essentially letting them know which link you clicked on. So when you search Google, you click this first link here, they know that's the link you clicked. And they also know it's different from like this one from that one. You know, you click the link on the top left versus the one on the bottom right, you know. Whatever. So
do not track and clear URL to get all that stuff out of there also.
right. So the Clear URL would filter all that crap out and give you the link you clicked on.
Right.
Essentially robbing Google of their advertising revenue that they get for each click that you click on.
Well, nobody's asking Google to put that stuff out there.
Right. So it just disappeared off the web store with no explanation as to why. And then
They've done that with a lot of things. They've done that with a lot of extensions, man. It's not cool.
It essentially it damages their business model, right? So
You'd think it would be a negative to them, but I don't. It's like they're cutting their nose off to spite their face. You know what I mean?
right. And Google claims that the description of the extension is too detailed, and that violated the Chrome Web Store rules, which is bullshit, and you know it's bullshit.
That's horse shit.
Right. They also stated that the extension did not mention it contains certain features, such as setting the import-export feature, having the ability to log, and having a donate button that was misleading. I don't get how having a donate button is misleading. You know, it says donate. You don't have to click it to use it, you know?
So you know what this means? I'm going to have to back up Clear URL now. Because the next time I have to reset my computer, I'm not going to be able to get it.
Well, you can still grab the XPI file from the guy's GitHub and then install it that way.
Okay.
You got to put Chrome in dev mode first. So you can.
Oh, yeah, that's what I've done that a whole bunch of times.
Is. Like if you're running Arc Welder, so you can run Android apps natively from Chrome, you have to put it in dev mode also.
Yeah.
So might as well. It doesn't really make it any less secure to run it in dev mode unless you're installing sketchy plugins.
Right.
So DMNK Rock says passwords have no place in the cloud and LastPass already got hacked. Yeah, maybe. Excuse me. What else we got here? We got a thing about how Slack very briefly let you DM anybody you wanted who was even on a different company's Slack. And then as soon as they started doing that, a bunch of assholes from LinkedIn who were trying to hire people at companies started using this feature to reach out to people who they wanted to try and be like, hey, you want to work for this other company? And all of a sudden Slack was like, you know what, maybe this was not the best idea. And they then immediately just disabled the feature they just made. And it was like, yep, now that's no longer a thing. So it can be way too easily abused. And, you know, Slack admins can enable Slack Connect if they want to, but by default, it's not going to be enabled anymore, which is probably smart.
Yeah, it's not there. I just went to look if Clear URL is there, and it's gone.
It's gone.
It's gone. You got a 404 error. 404 error.
Does the guy still have his GitHub up?
I'm looking for it right now because apparently I took it off my computer.
Yeah, it's right here. GitHub.com/clearurl/addon, which is I'm gonna pop it in the YouTube stream so everyone can see it. Yeah.
Well, I'm using circs.info. So
yeah, it's on his GitHub page.
Yeah, I'm looking for it's probably down here a little more. Up. It'd help if I typed GitHub, probably.
GitHub is useful. GitHub used to be my favorite. Now it's kind of like they pissed me off when they censored a PO.
Yeah, that wasn't cool. They did that last week or something. That wasn't right.
Exchange server. That was dick.
Yeah, I found it. Clear URLs add-on. Yeah,
Yep.
no, I already have my thing in development because I already had to put in a whole bunch of other things that they've censored.
Yeah, so I would pull down. If you do,
It makes but it makes if you get all that tracking stuff off of that, it makes browsing so much faster. You know what I mean?
I really don't know any difference.
Well, computers are really so fast these days. You don't, but if you're running lower systems or older computers, you know what I mean. You have like a low network. You can notice sometimes.
True. So yeah, it's still on their GitHub page. I'd grab it while I can because you know how Google and Microsoft all like to.
Yeah, I cried the day Microsoft bought GitHub, man.
Oh, look, the developer chimed in and has a whole like rant here. Let's look at that. The reasons for this are ridiculous and probably only pretended because clear URLs damages Google's business model. It is made it its mission to prevent tracking URLs, and that's how Google makes their money. I think a clear URL now has so many users, it's unwelcome for Google, and they would like to see it disappear permanently. I have appealed to Google against blocking and corrected the things they complained about. Among other things, it was claimed that the description of the add-on was too detailed and thus violates their Chrome Web Store rules. The mention of all people who helped to develop and translate it is somehow against their rules because it could confuse the users. Also, Google has criticized the description of the add-on that it didn't mention that there is a badge/import-export function for the settings, a logging function for debugging, and a donate button. This would be misleading. I'm attaching a copy of the email, but it is in German, so I've attached an automated translation. That's
horse shit, man.
So yeah, you can install the CRX manually if you want to.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing right now.
It's in the release. This is the link for it right here. It's under /add-on/releases, and you grab that file and update it. Yeah, I don't think it'll auto update though, so kind of keep an eye on it every now and then, like manually.
Oh, okay.
It's the only downfall with installing things this way is the store will no longer automatically update them for you.
Well, I'm using Brave.
Well, Brave runs Chromium under the hood.
So I don't know.
It should work just fine.
Yeah. Load package. No, I don't want to do that. Load.
It's a CRX file. I don't want to show that folder. All right. So next we have other things to do with this cast before time runs out, which is only 15 minutes from now. So,
oh wow, time went quick.
Time flies when you're having fun, and also when you're screwing around. And the direct
get a hold of me this week and give me a list of stuff that you guys need done, and I'll work on getting it done this week.
No problem.
Just give me like serious. Just ask if you need something done. Just ask me. Tell me if I have problems. I'll ask you. But hopefully I'll be able to get it done by myself.
To clean my apartment and do my. All right. Next, we've got Hobby Lobby exposes customer data in a cloud misconfiguration. This is another S3 bucket issue. We're not even going to get into it. Manga Deck's site offline following a hacking incident. This is a website for people who like Japanese comics. That one's offline. Data stolen from the universities of Colorado and Miami. It was published by ransomware actors. As we all know, they like to not only encrypt your shit, but also sell it now if you don't pay, and sometimes if you do pay. Newly wormable Windows botnet is ballooning in size. This botnet is called the Purple Fox malware, which we have talked about this in other posts. We're not going to go too far into it. Moving to the next one, CISA will use their new authority over the internet service providers to fight ransomware. And I'm sure that's not where it will stop. You give somebody this kind of power to just take down any website they want, and it's going to be a very slippery slope, I think. Yes, they can use it to disable a botnet very quickly, but what happens when they decide that some other site is not up to their standards and they just want to censor something? So it's a lot of power to give an agency to take down what they want.
I didn't have it. I just had it turned off. I still had it on my machine. I just turned it off. That's good. So I was having problems installing it again.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
Yep.
I hate having this memory problem, man. If it's not constantly in front of me, it's like it didn't happen. And I got ADHD on top of it, so it's like doubly worse.
Right.
Got like the memory of a gnat or a fruit fly or something.
I feel that way about my own memory sometimes. Computer. Like I talked about a toaster making bread before, like a fucking moron. So now they have the ability. You know how you have like private registration when you register the website? Well, they can just bypass that very, very quickly now. Find out who the person is and call them up and be like, hey, your system's compromised. You're spreading malware to other systems. Take your shit down. All that stuff.
Well, that's good.
Yeah. You'd think so, but also they have the ability to like just take down a freaking website from the ISP.
That's bad.
That's bad. They did this is all because of Microsoft's lawsuit, where Microsoft won the ability to take down some command and control servers that were doing some bad stuff. Obviously, because that's what most.
Yeah, weren't they hacking the Win server, the Microsoft server?
Don't remember. I think the thing was that they used source code in there.
That's what I'm saying.
That was owned by Microsoft. So
right.
Justification.
And they were hacking into the Microsoft servers, Windows servers, or whatever the hell it's called, Windows Server Edition,
which violates the term of service. And then it's all a clusterfuck. But essentially, the precedent has now been set. So now they can just.
That's horrible.
Yeah,
we're screwed. That's horrible, man.
Yeah,
they can basically turn anything off now if they want.
Correct.
That's super bad.
Next, we have Red Torch has been formed from the ashes of the Norse Corp, rather. They were an interactive pew pew cyber attack map. Remember that? The Norse map?
Yeah.
Remember, like, you'd be sitting in a SOC and somebody would be like, hey, we have some clients coming in. Can somebody put something up on the
that looks cool.
So looks cool. And put up the freaking Norse map, right?
Yeah, you see all these attacks coming in and things going, and it's cool. I love the Norse map. I'm still waiting for somebody to make a internet access like they did in the William Gibson novels, like where it's 3D, where I've seen some like 3D file managers, but like 3D where you can go to the it'd be like a website, or a network would be a building, and you'd have to go into it like something cool like that. Yeah, but cool, not gay,
So this is the Threat Butt interactive hacking attribution map.
Oh wow,
it's a fake cool. It's a fake pew pew map, but if you read the stuff that's down there, it's hilarious. Uses WordPress plugin against NSA. Tells us, it's like, oh, that's funny. Uses bad BIOS against, uses Stuxnets against USA. It's.
I think I have a WordPress site.
Yeah. WordPress is not something you want to forget about and leave up. You definitely want to patch that all the time.
Yeah, I'm on it. I visit it all the time and make sure everything's. It's just like a site.
You'll love this. There's plugins that will update your other plugins. So we recommended our client use one. That was literally the first one we found when we were Googling.
Well, I'm not using any plugins. I just have like my stuff plugged up to just like put on the site, and that's it. I'm not using anything fancy.
But you'll like this. So our client uses this plugin recommendation, and a week later their site just goes down. And they're like, what the hell? It turns out that plugin that we recommended that they use crashed their website.
Oh wow.
That was great.
I had that happen with my parents' computer. I told them to use a C cleaner or something, and then C cleaner had an exploit.
Yeah, I
And
remember.
my dad was all pissed off at me, and I'm like, look. Just update it. It's not going to be a problem. You don't have to worry about it.
And they went to a paid model a while ago too, so you can use it for like 30 days, and then you got to install it, and then
it's like, dude, either keep it open source, keep it free, keep it whatever, and have that freemium thing, but don't switch it up all of a sudden when you already got user bases. You know what I mean?
Well,
That's kind of like blackmail, man. But
that's the game.
You
They
shouldn't.
build a user base, and then they start charging more for it.
It's dishonest. You shouldn't say something is free to use and then start charging for it when somebody relies on that software. That's blackmail.
I agree with you on principle, but that's unfortunately the way that a lot of businesses work. They will run at a net deficit for the first few years and give out a free product, and as soon as they've got people hooked on it, they'll start charging for it.
That is so sleazy, man. That is so sleazy. That is
They
just
do it with remote access stuff all the time. They'd be like, "Oh, now you want a license." Like TeamViewer was great for a while, and then it's like, "Oh, you can't use it on a domain."
Didn't LogMeIn do that too?
LogMeIn did that, and even that company that was giving out free.
I loved LogMeIn. LogMeIn was so easy to use. You know what I mean? And it worked almost every time. No hassles, nothing. And then they want to charge you for it. It was crazy.
Yeah. Scotty says, do you think the lower end of threats is only going to increase in the next few decades? If by the lower end of threats you mean like low-hanging fruit, then absolutely. If you mean like the lower end of threats, meaning like something else, I'm not sure what you're talking about. So you might want to clarify, and I can answer better. Ransomware operators are, of course, piling on the exchange servers, right? Because, easy hack, free money.
Right.
The Real Wolf of Wall Street has some thoughts on the stock market and Bitcoin that you might want to read.
Nice.
Go into it because we don't have to. We got like 6 minutes. Verkada Breach does that as the voice over IP system. Not voice over, the cameras, the cameras that kid hacked, right? That whole breach is raising a whole bunch of concerns over surveillance firms and their access to your security cameras and how they should be securing them. And last but not least,
that you showed last week, the guy that went to jail in Switzerland or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was an interesting one.
And last but not least, we've got this Reddit post that I came across, which I thought was great. So this is new, and this post probably won't be up for long, so I'll read it now for posterity's sake. They got fired. Oh, this is new. This is a new development. So Reddit hired an admin who is extremely controversial, right? This admin, it turns out, their father was like a child molester. Their husband, their husband is a child molester, and they're trans.
Wow.
And like there was this whole freaking thing with her name. I'm going to use the proper pronoun. It was Amy. And Amy, until recently, they were essentially censoring all talking about this on Reddit. So if you posted this person's name, your thread just got automatically deleted. They were essentially saying that because the person's trans, they're going to get harassed by TERFs. So anybody talking about them or trying to dox them needs to go away right away. And nobody can say anything negative about this person because they're trans. But then a whole shitstorm ensued. And I only know about this new no longer employed thing is very new. This is like within the last hour.
Oh, wow.
So this is the person's name over here.
Yeah, I see it.
And come on, computer. Come on, keyword.
This is in the UK, you said?
Yeah, this person's in the UK. They were kicked out of multiple political parties in the UK for
right.
different things, right? Their posts on Reddit themselves were on their own account were fairly controversial
because they're supporting pedophilia. They're outright supporting it.
I can't say I didn't see that in the article, but I do know that.
Scroll up a little bit. Go up a little bit more. Almost right there. Many people repeating her name and associates and support for pedophiles.
There you go.
And a few small remotely used reviews remove the comments. So they're talking about. All right, so
essentially anybody who was talking shit about them was getting censored, and it was through
right.
the auto moderation feature built into Reddit. But from the perspective of people who are saying that this person's not really a good fit for Reddit, immediately being banned, having their comment banned, is not so good. I mean, I get it that the person's trans and they were trying to make sure the person didn't get harassed for being trans.
Yeah.
But the person's also like supporting pedophiles, and that's not okay.
Well, that's the new push. They want to normalize pedophilia.
Not they. Some pedophiles do. I would not say that most trans people want.
No, not trans. They. I'm saying they, as in like the left and the people that are on the sexual. I don't know how you say it, vanguard or whatever. But the sexual extremists.
I think the people who are pushing that agenda are not the same. Even the same people who are TERFs or.
I don't know who it is. I don't know who's pushing the agenda. I know there's
pedophiles are trying to jump into LGBTQIAA movement.
Yeah. Okay. So that's who it is.
Just throw
that
a
makes
bunch
sense.
of fucking initials at the end of it and confuse people.
Right. Yeah.
It's LGBTQIAA TRNSRFLLMP movement. It's like
plus. You forgot the plus. You forgot the plus.
Two pluses. Like C++.
C++.
There's a bit to it. Folks abusing.
So it was they were automatically getting kicked off and banned.
Right. Essentially, if you mention this person's name, you were getting kicked out of. You get like a Reddit demerit.
Oh, that's not cool.
Yeah, I don't know what the official term is, but essentially you're getting like shadow banned.
Wow.
Yep. So that's all. And there was other stuff in the show notes, but I really got to get running. So
all right, take it easy.
You take it easy, guys. Thank you for coming out and watching this cast this week. I really appreciate the support and the encouragement and all of you guys talking in the chat. You guys are awesome. You have a great night. Bye now.
Later,
Gator.